happen. What we see is the competition has a tendency to blink because they're adverse to risk. A business will typically cut back or trim expenses they perceive as either a cost center, including marketing, which decreases the market noise level, which is good for us. You don't see as much visibility from the competition, which allows you to leverage your visibility if you do take advantage of that quietness that's happening in the marketplace. This lack of competitive visibility allows you to leverage that and really increase the market penetration and be much more successful than you would in a competitive market environment. Okay.
All right, let's switch on my end. Do you see it?
Nope. Is it just delayed on my end? Nope, still not advancing. There we go. What should you consider doing in a down economy? First, view it as an opportunity to establish market dominance. Right-size your organization by trimming non-essentials. Redeploy and optimize your talent. Identify who your players are within your current staff, and make sure you have each and every individual staff member in the right position. Protect your equity. Increase your marketing budget. Take advantage of the decreased noise level. Take advantage of the available A players that may be out in the market at this time, and mine your current database. Take advantage of your most important equity in your practice, which is your current patient population. Okay? Oh, good. Perfect. Rules to live by in a tough economy. Our experience tells us those that market more aggressively during a down market get better results because the competition is scaling back. These economic times make it even more important to have a structured marketing plan so you can maximize your ROI. Understand the difference between advertising and marketing. Design a plan that views marketing in layers because not everything you do in marketing works all the time. And we'll talk about benchmarks a little bit later, but that's why it's even more critical that you're tracking all of your activities within your practice, whether they be internal or external, so that you're only redeploying dollars and reinvesting your marketing allocation into strategies that you know, in fact, are performing. We don't want to be doing any guesswork. Demonstrate your commitment to an ongoing business development plan to your staff and to your patients, and focus on the goal. Your staff needs to know that you're not in a fearful position either. They need to really believe in the confidence that you have that your practice is going to make it and thrive through this down economy. Okay? Okay. Design a comprehensive growth plan that accounts for various revenue streams. Identify what are my current revenue streams, and some of you may be primarily aesthetics. Some of you may be OB-GYN or primary care integrating aesthetics into your practice. So really identifying where your most profitable revenue streams are coming from, or where the most profitable revenue streams might be coming from, and figuring that out within your practice. What additional revenue streams can I offer? And how can I work smarter, not harder? And who's on board within my current staff? Do I have my dream team? Do I have the right staff in place? Internet growth strategies. Why the internet is as necessary as a business card. You don't just need a website, you need a web strategy. You need to identify what it is you want your website to accomplish, and then build the website around those strategic goals. Common internet mistakes, obviously not having a website in today's market, not having a site that represents your desired branded image and is actually counterproductive to the organization. Your website is your brand. It's your package. It's how people are going to be perceiving how good you are, and perception's everything. So they're making a judgment call based upon their initial impression when they pull up that website. How easily does it download? What does it look like? Is there any interactive functionality on there? Because they're determining your surgical and clinical skills based on what their experience is on the internet. Also, being invisible to your target audience on key search engines in your catchment area is very detrimental. 80% of the healthcare decisions that are made for the family are made by females, and in aesthetics, it's 98%. So we need to be appealing to this target audience emotionally, and we need to make sure that we're there when they're looking for us. If they have to search too hard or too long, they're never going to have an opportunity to get exposed to your website. Failure to optimize your site on a regular basis, and failure to analyze and respond to traffic reports. You need to respond to the activity of your market. And get the right brand that will emotionally connect with your target audience. What's different or better about you than what the competition is communicating? Why should I choose you as opposed to someone else in your market? You need to give them specific reasons to choose you, and that needs to come through clearly in your website. Get the right placement and be visible to local searches for key search engines. The Google geolocal at the top of the internet search is now the #1 spot that your prospects are going to in search of healthcare services. So you need to make sure not only are you optimized organically or in a pay-per-click format, but you also need to be represented in that map listing. That's done through organic optimization and AdWords and AdWord placement and hosting. You need to make sure that you trust your host and that you're getting what you're paying for, because you do get what you pay for with hosting. And you need to be present. You need to have a good, strong brand structure. Defining moments through the eyes of the patient. Defining moments or decision points where a patient decides whether or not to seek treatment from a physician. This is when they're deciding whether or not you're a fit for them. Through a physician referral and what's said in that referral through a friend, insurance directory, or an ad that they're exposed to. Then they have an opportunity to make an appointment. What's the impression during that process? How are they handled on the phones? How quickly can they be scheduled? What's that first impression like? Then the appearance of the waiting area. What does your waiting area look like? Does it convince and communicate the patients that you are the #1 choice and that they've made the right choice by choosing your practice? New carpeting, paint, chairs, size, all of those things contribute to their impression of you. And then the greeting at the front desk. That initial impression with that first staff member is very important. And you need to make sure you're hiring the right people. Turnover costs you time, money, and can have a devastating effect on how your patients view your practice. Staff, if trained properly, can be a strong marketing asset for your practice. I look at the practice like an upside-down pyramid, balancing on the end of the finger of the person answering your phone. So are they capturing those calls? Are they making those callers feel welcome? Or are they rushing through the call and giving out pricing information without trying to find out what the true reason of that call is? Your staff contributes greatly to the success or failure of your practice. Next. Staff training. Your staff needs to understand your procedures. They don't need to be providing too much information on the phone, but they also shouldn't be asking each time a patient calls with an inquiry about a service that they're interested in. Staff needs to understand what your patients want. Choosing a specialist is an emotional decision. They want to make sure you have clinical expertise with compassion, want to feel cared about and cared for. They want to make sure that the staff listens well, that the physicians listen well, and is sensitive to customer needs. You need your staff to build a relationship with a patient just as you do, and you need to make sure they've got the personality. You can train the equipment, you can train protocols, but you can't train personality. And if you have a negative staff member within your team, chances are they can be dragging other staff members down with them, so be cautious of that. Share advertising campaigns and materials. They should know what your materials look like and what they represent and what your mission statement is and what your goals and objectives are for the practice. The team needs to be in alignment with the plan. You should also think about creating team incentive programs for bringing in patients and building business. If they see the growth of your practice as an opportunity for you to grow, but not for them, sometimes they can put up a significant amount of resistance, which can really hinder the plan's success. And make sure you have ongoing communication at staff meetings. Hear their feedback and their challenges, and make sure you're providing staff training ongoing to keep them ahead of the curve. Next. A strategy that we've implemented successfully for 30 years is what we call the 1-minute commercial. You have a captive audience with your patients in your practice, and your patients only know that you do the one thing that you've done for them. You don't want to inundate them with too much information about the practice, but if you choose one topic per month and have everyone in the staff communicating that one topic, you'll find you'll start to increase the demand and the conversion of that particular procedure because there's a buzz about it, and that's what we're trying to create each and every month. It doesn't cost you anything, but again, you need to train the staff, make sure everyone's got the same delivery, the same message, and be educating your patients about other services that you provide in your practice. The commercial answers the question, what do you do? What's special about your practice so that patients choose you and physicians should refer? And then also remembering that every social or professional interaction is an opportunity for internal marketing. Next. Build on your existing patient base, patient referral programs. You want to turn your happy patients into practice supporters by saying thank you for their business. You need to ask all of your A patients to refer others. And by A patients, I mean the patients that you would love to fill your practice with. Some patients are preferred a little bit more over others, so you need to identify those A patients based on your criteria. And then ask each and every patient for a referral by simply stating we would love to fill our practice with patients like you. These ambassadors like to get that positive feedback from their providers, and it gets the ball rolling and starts them thinking about other patients they could refer in. Once you've asked for the referral, you need to thank them. So you need to create a patient referral program, and the Pareto principle applies here that 20% of your patients will be responsible for 80% of your word-of-mouth referrals. If you could get 20% of your entire patient population referring one patient in the next 12 months, that's a pretty significant growth goal given your average case size and what each patient is worth to you in a 12-month period. And we all know that those ambassadors, those A patients, usually refer more than one. So if you could get them each to refer 5, that would be significant growth, and that's coming from the patients you like already. As a thank you, you want to call the referrer with a sincere thank you over the phone. That has a tremendous impact for them. Send a nice thank you note and a gift. We like gifts that have high display ability, have a long shelf life, so they remind the patient of your gratitude and they stick around a little while. And then deploy your patient prospecting email, which is a quarterly email, which will allow you to upsell additional services to your existing patient population and increase the word-of-mouth referrals. If the patient hasn't seen you in over a year, they may have had a fabulous experience with their last procedure, but they're not thinking of referring to you because you're not top of mind. We need to stay top of mind. Okay, next. Implement satisfaction surveys. It's very important that you know how your patients feel about their experience in your practice. Display positive surveys in office and on your website, and distribute surveys to referring physicians or potential referring physicians to show them how happy your patients are with the care you provide. It also allows you to fix things in the practice that are broken. It costs between 5 to 6 times more to attract one new customer than to keep an existing one. Only 1 out of 25 unhappy customers will express dissatisfaction to you. However, dissatisfied people will tell 9 to 12 people about their experience. So you need to ask patients while they're there face-to-face with you, how was your visit today? And look for the nonverbal signs. You want to make sure if there are any problems, you catch that before it leaves the door. But if they give you the nod of the head that they're satisfied and they've had a good experience, that's the opportunity to ask them to refer someone. Next. Internal strategies. You need to track every patient from first phone call, not by the time they come into the practice. That is the most accurate way of assessing which strategies, which tactics are contributing the greatest ROI to your practice. You want to discontinue the strategies that are not generating a positive ROI and roll your marketing dollars into strategies that are. Every new patient should receive a new patient welcome package before they come into the practice, time permitting. It should be sent in the mail or online, depending on the type of marketing collateral you have. Utilize your marketing stationery system and practice brochure, which will allow you to really communicate your uniqueness, your differentiation, and validate that they made the right decision by calling your practice. It will significantly cut down on new patient no-shows and bond them to the practice before they ever walk foot through your door. Use your physician's resumes. Each provider should have a bio, a conversational bio, not a dry CV, that communicates why they chose their profession, all of their continuing education, credentials, certifications, that allow your patient population to have a stronger sense of belonging and a greater sense of trust. Pass along certificates or invitations for your patient population to distribute to other friends and family members is a good tool to make sure those referrals that they're sending to you actually stick. You probably have patients who are out there actively referring to your practice, but because there's no follow-through, the referred friend thinks about calling, but then it's too much work for them to find you again, or they might get online and find your competition even though they were referred to you. So it's important that you have a handout to give to your ambassadors to pass along to their friends and family member and make sure that they sign it so you can thank them properly. And that goes back into our frequent referral program. If you nurture and stimulate that referral behavior, the behavior will thrive. And that's what we're looking for, is to really capitalize on our ambassadors and make sure they're referring. Again, our 1-minute messages are theme of the month. Reactivate your unconverted. If you have patients who have been presented treatment or they've come through your practice and you've discussed treatment options but they have not converted, twice a year you should be sending out a letter with a follow-up phone call to these unconverted prospects to try to get them back in for treatment. Regular email blasts, quarterly email blasts to be deployed out to your patient population. You've worked hard to get them into your practice. Now it's important that we take care of them and we remain top of mind. In-office posters, it's good to display point-of-purchase advertising. It's a retail strategy that's worked for many, many, many years. Is on the walls of your practice. Again, you have worked hard to get patients to walk through your door, so it's important that you're upselling yourself and promoting all the services that you offer as opposed to letting them look through magazines or books that are on the table or generic posters from some of your associations. Posters and display artwork that promotes other services that you offer is a good point-of-purchase conversion technique. Marketing-based website needs to be strong and optimized, and promotional materials to support your brand and your uniqueness. Next. Messages on hold. If I call your practice and for any reason am put on hold, I know many of you probably think patients aren't. Chances are they are. You want to be upselling as the patient is on hold, talking about you, the benefits of the practice, your credentials, all the conveniences of the practice so that they're captivated and drawn in through each one of these buying opportunities. And your satisfaction survey and making sure patients are reappointed for recall if you're seeing routine treatment for fillers or any of your routine aesthetic treatments. You need to make sure that they're being reappointed before they leave the practice so that they're committed to that next treatment. Okay, next. Marketing ROI tools. You should be using a tracking form at the front desk. If you've already got one built into your software program, then you can utilize that as well. But you need to track by source, ad, physician or patient referral, community event, radio, whatever marketing strategies you have in the market, you need to be tracking specifically by strategy. Then you also need to make sure you're tracking your conversion rate to appointment or consult. How effective is your staff in getting patients to actually book an appointment and then show up for that appointment. Also track your no-shows and reschedule appointment if they don't show for that scheduled appointment. Generate weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly tracking reports. Set goals and measure progress. Collect regular patient satisfaction data and analyze referral patterns for optimal financial case mix. You need to know where your good patients are coming from, whether it's specific patients referring other patients, whether it's certain physicians, or whether it's a certain strategy or tactic that you've deployed in the marketplace. Measure hits on your website. You need to be on top of the traffic that's coming into your website so you know which gateways or which services are most frequently visited. And you need to make sure that your website is optimized. So if I search for a specific procedure, when I make it into your website, I land on the page that talks about that procedure, not a home page where I need to navigate my way through and find my way to the procedure I'm searching for. Okay, next. Staff training. 5 steps toward marketing success. Your staff can make or break your practice, make or break your marketing campaign. So it's important that you hire staff with excellent customer service skills. As I said earlier, you can train the protocols and you can train what you do in your practice. You can't train personality. And you can't train ethics or a desire to be there. So that's what you're looking for when you're hiring staff. Train them on key practice messages and procedures. Enlist them in actively asking for patient referrals. They need to be demonstrating that this is the best practice for the patient. They need to be demonstrating your mission statement, communicating the benefits of the practice and how you're different or better. They should also be able to communicate current ads or special offers, consultations and evaluations. They should be encouraging patients to come in for an initial consultation or an offer and not letting that prospect off the phone. We call and mystery shop our clients routinely, and I'd say 10 times out of 10, they do not ask for tracking information and don't ask for follow-up contact information. Your staff has to be doing that. If I have gone so far as to pick up the phone and call to ask for information on your practice, if I am a true candidate, I'm looking for a solution to a problem. So they need to have the tools and the training to be able to convince me to come in for a consultation. Create opportunities for patient education. Establish a patient referral program. Participate in disease awareness months. Build systems to track your professional and patient referrals. Reduce no-shows and rescheduled appointments, and they should be motivated to make sure that those no-shows are reappointed quickly and that the holes that the no-shows create, they've got a protocol in step where they can call people who are on a wait list or scheduled a couple weeks out to come in and fill in that gap. Teaching them how to reactivate old patients and create tracking reports for referrals, patient referrals and physician referrals. You need to stay on top of those ambassadors and keep that behavior flourishing. Okay, next. Develop a comprehensive plan. Practice Builders offers on-site marketing planning at your office. We have been working with healthcare practitioners for over 30 years, and our services and our support and strategic planning is based upon the experience of working with thousands of physicians across the country over the past 30 years. The VASER partnership enables you to reduce fees for those visits, and what that house call includes is a comprehensive program which begins prior to your strategist arriving. We do an in-depth analysis of your marketplace. We mystery shop your office or offices to assess strengths and weaknesses in your staff and then provide you with direct feedback. We have a comprehensive review of your website and search engine optimization. We take a look at your website from the backside to tell you how well optimized it is, the navigation, where it appears under certain searches. We make sure that we're taking a look at not just the aesthetics and the fascia of the site, but the actual functionality as well. We have at least 2 discovery and objective setting discussions to really determine what you're wanting to accomplish with your practice. What are your personal goals and objectives? And then we do an in-depth demographic and psychographic analysis of your market. We also take a look at the competition. What is the competition saying to the current marketplace, and what is it that we do different or better? We go through a series of exercises, a SWOT analysis, and a 5 Ps analysis to really take a look at what it is that makes your practice tick. And if you think you're the best provider for these services, we need to find a way to communicate that to your marketplace. Your on-site session includes discussions with all partners, key practice members, and results in a comprehensive written strategic plan for your practice, for its VASER niche, other niches, and the practice in general. So we write the plan based upon the integration of VASER into your practice, but we also take a look at what else is happening with your practice. It's not just one niche we need to grow, it's the practice holistically. We also have a comprehensive marketing agency with award-winning branding, internet marketing, public relations, media planning and launch, and on-site staff training to ensure successful launch of your plan. And if you would like to participate in our mystery call program, which is available now for all participants this evening, you need to contact your VASER representative. And what that means is if you call your VASER rep, I believe it's within the next 2 weeks, we will call and mystery shop your office and then provide you with a report of findings and let you know how your staff is doing to support your efforts. And that's it. Okay. And we do have a campaign that we put together for a Practice Builders did for a plastic surgeon who had integrated VASER into the practice. Gallus Plastic Surgery. Next. This is an example of the practice brochure that was developed, which branded this practitioner as a result of the marketing campaign with the brochure. Go ahead, next. Stepped inserts, which break out the individual gateways that the physician is marketing or looking to bring into the practice. The body contouring for the shape you desire was a vaser insert. And again, our strategies and tactics have evolved based upon the needs of our clients. So we found that to be an effective strategy to break out the individual service options that were available so that patients could choose to pull one particular sheet which appeals to them. This is an example of a pass-along certificate. I talked earlier about having your ambassadors pass along a certificate as an invitation to a friends and family member, which helps really solidify and secure that referral. Go ahead, next. A copy of their marketing-based stationery system. You need to treat your stationery system as a marketing tool. Each and every time you have an opportunity to educate patients or prospects about the benefits and services in your practice, you need to do that. So each time you utilize your stationery, whether it's being generated directly off your computer or whether you're using it as a hard copy format, you need to be positioning your practice and educating aesthetically and from a copy standpoint what it is your practice does that's different or better. Next. Copy of the marketing-based business card. Your card also needs to sell you, to act as a little mini bio. So each time your card is distributed or utilized as an appointment card, this goes home with those ambassadors and gives them an opportunity to talk to their friends and family when they're carrying the card around for their next appointment. Next. Is that the last one? Okay. Tiffany?
Yep. It's not moving.
I think that might be
Your last one?
the last one.
Okay. Perfect. We are at the question portion. So, Kathy, thank you so much. And I think you really touched on a lot of things that we, as the marketing managers here, have experienced with some of our practices and some of the frustrations maybe that they have as far as marketing goes, and really touching on the fact that I think people need to remember how important their staff really is. And I think sometimes that's not driven home enough to doctors or the office manager, especially that front office person, and really how much training goes into that and how much that person really holds that practice in the palm of their hands. And I know a lot of doctors that have expressed concern that maybe they're not doing as well, and then when I call them back and I talk to the front office person, I'm like, I think
yeah, absolutely. And that, and I think we stumbled upon this just by doing that very thing, as we would spend time and effort and money in development of a marketing campaign, and then the staff was telling callers that the doctor's no longer accepting new patients. And I get that feedback probably 1 out of every 20 calls that we make. So it is critical, and there's so much to talk about. The staff is really a direct extension of the physicians and how they treat the patients and what the patient's experience is like, and really a lack of understanding of what the doctor wants that perception to be. And if they are just there part-time and they're not really that interested in the growth or the health of the practice, that really shows when the caller gets on the phone. And I always, when I share this feedback with doctors, they say, well, that wasn't the staff member that usually answers the phone. I say, well, we got her, and that means patients are getting her. So it's important that that role, that front desk role, which is not usually the most experienced person, not usually the most highly paid, is really responsible for the lifeblood in the practice.
I couldn't agree more, and this is one of the reasons why we really wanted to partner up with you guys and really get you out there to our doctors to really help them and help train the staff in understanding how important it is, and also the website. I'm really glad that you touched on that. But we do have some questions, so I am going to start asking those for you. One of the big questions that we're getting is how much does it cost?
The value of the house call is $5,000 with the level of analysis that goes in and the research that supports all the decisions that are made and the experience of the marketing directors. But based upon the relationship that we have with you with Vaser, we're willing to reduce that cost drastically to $2,000 for the house call, and that includes a seasoned senior marketing director. I don't think there's any one of us here that has less than 15 years of experience, and accommodations, and usually a 2.5-day stay.
And then we have answer that one. The website optimization you touched on a little bit. Is this included in the program that you're coming in at the $2,000?
Well, website optimization is really pulling apart their existing website. So we analyze what their current optimization looks like and make recommendations. But to get in technically and optimize their website, no, that's a different service line. That's essentially what we provide is strategic planning, is identifying where their safest investments should be to get the biggest return, biggest ROI, biggest return, what needs to support that marketing plan, but the optimization is a different animal.
And then if there isn't a regional workshop going on in their area anytime soon, do you have or do you guys do one-off appointments?
Yes, that actually the cost that we just mentioned is for a house call. So that's where we will fly out to the practice and usually have dinner the night before to go over the marketing objectives and their personal goals and objectives, and then spend the entire next day with the staff, talking with the staff and the doctor. Usually the morning is dedicated to the staff and improving their protocols, and then meeting with the doctor or principals over lunch and through dinner that following evening. And then we fly out the next day. We do have regional workshops. I believe we have 4 to 5 workshops a month across the country. And we are also working on setting up some Vaser-specific workshops where it would just be a group of Vaser doctors collaborating and learning through the 2-day seminar that we usually do ongoing throughout the country.
And then do you recommend charging for consultations?
For physician consultations?
Yeah.
That's a good question. You know, it really kind of depends on the region. You have to be aware of what your competitors are offering as an offer, as what we call a low-risk way to try a bite-sized piece of service. I think the market has changed so drastically. If all of your competitors are offering a free consultation, you either have to jump on board and do that yourself or offer the charged consultation and then the fee applies to the procedure. That's what I see to be the most successful. If you're offering a free consultation, it's like fishing with a big net. You're going to get a lot of unqualified candidates because they're tire kickers, so to speak, but you're going to get more fish to fish from. So it depends on the size of your practice. If you're just a startup practice, a free consultation is going to help you build volume quickly. If you're a more seasoned practice or a practice that's just trying to transition into more Vaser procedures, then those free consultations are going to eat up an unnecessarily large amount of your time. So a way to nicely pre-qualify those candidates is to have a charge, $25 to $35, and then that fee, that's really a high enough price point to sort of skim off the undesirables, and then that fee goes towards their procedure, is applied towards the procedure.
Sure. And then I get a lot of people calling off of ads, but they don't book consultations. Is it worth continuing these ads just for visibility?
If you've had absolutely no bookings, I would first look at the conversion capabilities of your front office staff. That could be where your hole is. So if you don't have somebody that's got really strong sales skills handling those phones and booking those appointments, then that might be where your hole is. But if the ads are making the phone ring, I would be reluctant to cut that out completely. What I would rather do is do a proper analysis working backwards to determine, do you have a competitor who's saying the same thing but is giving away a low risk way to try a bite-sized piece of service or a more intriguing initial offer. But there's enough visibility amongst the competition where the phones are ringing, but I'm losing these initial consults because somebody else is giving away something better or more interesting than I am.
And then how many regional consultants do you guys have? And if somebody was to book something, how long would be the wait before somebody would come out?
It depends on our current demand. Usually we can get out within a 3-week period, sometimes as quickly as a week, just depending on what the consultants have on their plate at that particular time. But the usual turnaround time is about 3 weeks.
And then do you guys help design ads for them and pick the pubs for them to publish in?
We have the services available, absolutely. We, as I said earlier, we've evolved based upon the needs of our clients. We started out with just a newsletter 30 years ago and then started our workshop schedule, then moved into house calls and then found that a lot of clients are having a hard time finding people who are qualified to build marketing brands and choose strategic direction for their marketing campaigns. So we now can be completely turnkey, where we can do media planning, creative development, implementation, printing, training, web design, and PR, or we can just do a website and a practice brochure, and the client can take it and complete it the rest on their own from there. So it just sort of depends on the needs of the client and the relationships that they have with local vendors. But yes, we can provide anything we recommend. We have made sure we're able to provide or provide a resource for.
What's the highest level you've ever done for a doctor's practice?
The highest level of growth or the largest budget?
The largest budget or the most, how extensive could you absolutely be for a practice?
Oh, gosh. Well, we work with a number of medical device companies where some of what we've done has been from the corporate relationship down. So we've done the marketing on a corporate level, which then lends itself to the marketing of the individuals, if that makes sense. The largest solo entity, I think, for me personally, recently would have been 15 med spas in the Chicagoland area. That was one example, and I think the marketing budget was around $6 million. One I just did recently is a brand new startup practice. She and her sister are just getting their feet wet, and it's just a grassroots marketing plan. So we're capable of all of the above.
Perfect. Well, Kathy, I'd like to thank you guys so much for being on with us tonight and doing this presentation for us. For everybody, please take a look at the screen. If you have any questions, you're welcome to contact Vaser. You can contact Jen or I here, and then also Practice Builders would be happy to assist you with any questions that you have, too.
Great.
And I think that is it for tonight. So everybody have a wonderful night, and thank you, Kathy.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Bye-bye.